So I'm assuming a couple people here know about container registries, OCI containers. You run a couple images somewhere, something like that, deployed in Kubernetes. So OCI lately has been working on how do we extend our container images to have more metadata. And I'm guessing a lot of people have looked at things like signing, or signing, stuff like that. We're going to sign container images. And I think a lot of people have also heard of things like SBOMs. That's been another popular thing in the secure supply chain before we talk about MS. You can pretty much add any metadata you want to a container image, and we've been standardizing that in OCI as this quick little run through, quick because I'm going to probably skip a few slides, what we've been doing over there. So I'll skip a little bit of who I am, just kind of, I've been doing some OCI maintainment things, and a few of my demos will show off some of the tooling that I'm working with. But in a nutshell, if you've seen container images, hopefully everybody says yes to this. You know that they're made up of a collection of file system layers. You know that you probably built it with like a Docker build or some other tools out there. You probably know that you've got a SHA-256 digest that you can refer to them as with a pin that is immutable. So if you ever refer to it with that, you're guaranteed to always be talking to the same container image. And you probably looked inside the container just a little bit. Importantly, when you're looking at those digests are the hashes of the content itself. And so when you say, I want to pin to this digest, and you ask the registry for that content, if you hash the content that you get back from the registry, it is the hash. That's why they call it a content addressable store. That happens all over the place in OCI. So you'll see those hashes for the layers. You'll see those hashes for the configuration of the container image. All the metadata you would have about what command to run, what environment variables, all the entry points, any labels, other stuff in there, all that's put in a config JSON blob, that's hashed, and that's pushed up to a container registry. Those two pieces of data, the layers and the config, those are pushed up as blobs. And then you need an extra piece of data that is a manifest in OCI that says, here's how we assemble all those blobs together, here's how we assemble the multiple layers in what order, and the configuration. And that all gets put together in one of these manifests, and it just has the references that says, this is the digest that I'm looking at, puts it all together for the collection digest. And then you can take the hash of this manifest, and you'll have that digest. That's the pin digest where you say, I want to pin to this individual content. Picture, if you need graphics, I think a lot of people need that. And so you've got the tag that you're looking at, that's kind of like a virtual symlink that points to your manifest, that manifest then points to the config and the layers, right? That's the simple, super easy, high-level OCI, what we do over there, and we're talking about registries. Has a nice feature, which is immutability, which means that whenever you talk to one of those digests, you can't change anything in there. That digest, that manifest, forms essentially a Merkle tree, where you have the hash of the parent has all the child hashes, you can't change any child hashes without changing the hash of the parent. That's nice because, we're immutable, we can't mess with anything. It's bad because people want to keep adding extra metadata to container images after the fact. How do we associate the two together? So that's one of the challenges we're going to have to look at. We've also got multi-platform images. I'm going to skip through this a little bit, but the end result is you've kind of got a manifest that points to other manifests. And so you've now got like a hash at a higher level that just has a bunch of hashes of child objects. In OCI lately, though, we've been pushing all kinds of other data. In those blobs, you can put any data you want to in that blob. It doesn't have to be a layer of a file system. It doesn't have to be just like a big JSON. It can be just random text. Put that in OCI as a blob. So anything you ever wanted to store up in an OCI registry, if you put it in a random string of bytes, you can put it in an OCI registry. The only thing you need on top of that is to have some kind of manifest that says for that string of bytes, here's the hash of that. I'm going to assemble that into this manifest, which is an image manifest that we kind of reuse that for all kinds of stuff in OCI. So we've got a way we can put an artifact up in a container registry. You've probably seen this already. If you've ever seen like a Helm chart, something like that, you can push those into OCI registries. You can push all kinds of other data up there. A lot of other groups have been doing that already. And so now the challenge isn't just how do you put that up in a registry, because we've been doing that. It's how do you associate the two together. And we looked at different ways of doing it. I will skip through some of the random, boring ways of doing it, some of the problems we looked at. We did have a few different proposals that we looked at. And some of those proposals were to say, let's make a whole new kind of manifest. Let's have a new API that links that new manifest so we can query to see everything. That's a challenge because anytime you add a new manifest, it means none of the existing registries will work with it. Registries are very sensitive about those little green boxes, the blue boxes of the manifest. They don't care what you put in the little green boxes, the blobs. but they care about the manifest because they parse that on the registry server. So you add a new type of that, that's going to be difficult to add. We also looked at just saying, well, let's keep reusing the same image manifest because we're good at doing that. You can always add extra fields in there. You can add changes into an existing manifest, and the registry should kind of ignore it. If we want to still add another API, that's still going to be a challenge because registries don't have the new APIs. We still got some upgradability challenges. The way Cosign had done it over on the sync source side is they just have used the tag syntax. And so you'll see some special tags into your container registries these days if you're ever signing images. They have this big long digest in there for the tag name with a little .sig at the end. So we looked at that and we said, well, we got several ways we can do it. We said, how do we want to pick and choose between all these different options? And design by committee, we just said, yes, pick all three. Let's just use them all. And so what we ended up doing was, well, we started by saying yes, and then we eventually kind of dropped it down to just 2 of the 3. Where we said, let's go ahead and add an extra field to the existing manifest. Let's have a new API, but let's fall back if we don't have that API to use the tag API. So we can work with new registries and new features, but we still have a way to work with old registries we need to in kind of a fallback scenario. So the end result of this is that we have this new tag that we'll point to that's going to point to a list of all the different things that we have extended this container image with. So you have a container image that might have a signature and an SBOM, and maybe they want to upload a Docker file, a license file, something else. They've got all this different metadata. Each of those pieces of metadata can be up there as a separate artifact that each say that we refer back to this original image. And so you can query your image that says, tell me everything about it, and we've got a list of all those. So the same way you can track a manifest list of all the different platforms, you can have a manifest list of all the different kinds of artifacts that are associated with this one container image. So we've got a way to associate the two together. And once you have a new API, it's the same response pack that we get, but now the API is generated, the API is maintaining this for you on the registry server side, because when it's a tag, this means the clients have to do it. What the clients are doing, you have race conditions, you have other kinds of complexity in there, so when we can get this to the server, that's even better. So we have a nice little forward and upgrade path. The way we've done this in the manifest, we can add new fields into a manifest, and so we just add a new field into there that says, let's see, second slide here, this subject field on the bottom. We add the subject that says, I'm extending this other image. So you just put, here's the other image I'm extending. You've got some other data in there, you track it in the index, and you put it all together. So I forget what my demos look like. It's been a while since I've given this point here. So I am going to spin up 2 registry servers on 2 different ports, 5001 for a new registry that has the API 5000, or no, the old registry is on 5001. The new registry is on 5002. With that, I set up a couple variables. I know they wanted me to keep this somewhat quick, so I don't want to spin through all these keyboard typings here. All these slides are up online if you want to look at it later on. So let me skip through and just kind of show you real quick how I attach something. And so I'm going to say that for a given image I've got out there, I'm going to do a sift of a build. Not mutables. Okay. Do a sift that will generate an SBOM. And I'm going to pick my SBOM type. I think I picked CycloneDX. I think I just read that off the screen. I'm going to generate a CycloneDX SBOM off of my image, and I'm going to pipe that into this regcuddle command. I mentioned that I'm the author of that one. I'm going to pick and choose the tools that I've written. There are other tools to do this as well. In fact, I think one of the SBOM generators is already starting to do this. So I just took my sift SBOM command, piped it into this, and that generated the artifact that's associated with my container image. Because all the other parameters in there, when I say that I'm going to have a -- subject that just says make this the subject of my other image. So it's pushing up an extra little piece up there. So I'm doing this twice, pick 2 different of these things, and I think you can do signing some other stuff out there. I'm going to skip through all the details. Well, I'll go ahead and say it with Cosign. Cosign as well, they've got some new functionality in there where they're doing this as well, so you don't have to have the .sig in there. They'll work with this new functionality just as they do with the old functionality. So I think I turned on some experimental features to make that work. Once I've got that, now I can query it. And so you can query any image up on a registry and say, tell me from this image, all the metadata is up there, and I'm just saying, give me a list of all artifacts. And I've got this OCI index, a manifest list of everything. I think I scroll back. I need to scroll back and show you the top of this. There we go. So I've got this index of just multiple manifests, and each one of these things says that I am the manifest, or I'm the link that has a Cosign artifact, so a Cosign signature. Down below it's going to say I'm the artifact that has a CycloneDX SBOM, so I've got all different metadata up there with the details I need to query it. So I can say, query for this image and give me just the cosign signature, or give me just the SBOM in this format. And if I know what the media type is I'm querying, I can get that. And then I can say, give me the NFS. I think I can do some other details in here to push it through. I need a fast forward button on this one. But yeah, showing you the individual. If you query that tag, the tag is the exact same content, so I'm just showing you nothing up my sleeve. The tag, the fallback tag is just the exact same content there. So what I want to get to is I can query this at the end that says, give me an artifact get command. I'm saying, give me the artifact for this image. So I don't even know the name of the artifact itself. I just know the image that I want to query. And I want to say, give me the SBOM for that given image. So I'm running this query against the registry. And since the details are saved up on the registry using these media types, so using something like the Cyclone-DX media type, I can run this, and just like that, I don't have to know anything else about it. I've got that association, I've got that SBOM right here. So I've got all the details I want. So now I can ship across from registry to registry my container image, the SBOMs, the signatures, and everything else, and they're all packaged together up on an OCI registry, and they're portable with each other. All right, and the cool thing about this is that when you upgrade to a new registry, so I've got another one up here that's called ZOT. I'm going to copy this image and all the content with it. I think I need to initially copy it, or they had a bug in the recent version, so I had to do it 2 separate steps here. If I pass the --recurse, that just says copy all the other metadata with the image, not just the image itself. So it's going to run that extra copy with all the other details, not just the container and the layers, but all the SBOMs, signatures, and other stuff. That all gets copied over. And now I can say, give me all the artifacts for that image, and they all just got copied over from one registry to another. And I can do the queries, I can do the lists, and everything else. So this is now portable with our container images. So conveniently, this is not just my little reg client tooling out there, or us, the one came out of the Microsoft group. That also does this, so you can say discover with ORAS, both on the new and the old registry, and it says, here's all the data up there, so you can query this using other tools. Cosign itself, I can say verify the signature with cosign. It's using this data up there as well. And I can run the verify both on the new and the old registry, and it works just as fine on each one of them. And again, if I queried with the artifact list command, that's going to do the same idea, where I can say, give me all those artifacts on the new registry, and it will give me those details. All right, so this is how we get all this stuff shipped across different registries. Got more details here on those discover commands. I don't want to bore you all with some of those details up there. So this slide is a little bit dated. We've got a new release out. We're actually looking at RC5 right now for the image spec, and I think distribution spec is probably an RC3. We're getting close to releasing. We've got a few registries that came up in the last minute and said, hey, we looked at this, we finally got around. You asked us for your feedback, to the OCI maintainers. We finally took a look at it. We decided we wanted to push and change for some other details. We're working through some of those final details. We're getting really close to GA this right now, though. So this is just about to hit for GA for OCI, saying that's it. This is the standard. This is what everybody's going to use. And from that point forward, I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot more tools out there. All the SBOM generators, the signing tools, anything that's adding extra metadata to a container image. This should be out there, released and available for everybody to start using here real soon, if not already. Like I say, cosign's got this under experimental flags already right now. In terms of registries that have adopted this, Zada's adopted it. I think Harbor was looking at adding some of the RC features. They might have a few more things to flip for some of the newest changes we've done. Docker Hub and ECR, and I'm not sure about GitLab, but Docker Hub and ECR are just waiting for us to GA. They're not saying we're blocking it forever. They're saying as soon as you GA, we're going to flip the switch on our side. It's going to be released. So that's the only thing that's holding out for them. And then I've got a few recommendations for hopefully people stick with the standards and whatnot out there so that they don't block us, because if you stay with OCI 1.0 and of course completely run the standard as it is, everything just works with fallback scenarios. And then once you upgrade to the new stuff, you get this new API, things work even better. From the client side, I pointed out a few of them, the Reg client, the ORAS, and the cosign out there as well. I've seen a few others, I think, and I haven't added to the slide. I think I saw some SBOM generating tooling out there. I need to go back and figure out who that was doing that. But there are more and more projects that are looking at doing this and adding this to their own tooling out there. So with that, I just wanted to do a little pitch out there and say, hey, the standards are coming out, they're getting updated, so now as you start to ship around your container images, you've got a way you can start shipping around all the other metadata with them going forward. And we're not just limited to just signatures and SBOMs, whatever you think you ever might want to attach to a container image. push it up to an OCI registry. So that's all I got. I mentioned the slides are up online, so feel free to grab those if you saw me go too fast through anything. All the demos and everything, you can click through them and watch them in your own time. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. Thank you for pulling that audible. I now learned that phrase, the call and audible. Any questions? Carlos is one. Here you go.
What is the latest status from the SIG in terms of using labels versus annotations?
So labels go into that config JSON, and the annotations go up to the parent manifest. And if you're querying, it's a lot nicer. You don't have to go an extra layer in there to have the annotations up there at the high level at the top. So that's nice, but not many tools support the annotations. And so when you're trying to do like a Docker build or something like that, in the Docker file, you can't really set an annotation there. Practical usage, we see a lot of labels out there. Ideally, it would be nice to get people more on the annotation side, but we're not picking and choosing winners there.
Okay, I have another question. I have like maybe two questions. One question I have is what kind of security parameters are built into this? If I'm pulling an image, is it gonna go and pull a referrer kind of SBOM image or SBOM data from a third repository from a different place, or it has to be like local, number one? Yeah, and then I can ask the next.
Yeah, we are scoped to those same repositories. So whoever's got access to push up to that repository and upload images to that repository, you're going to query the other repos in that same repository. So it's only people that have right access to that same location.
So it's not going to go out and from some other place. Okay. So this is from a security point of view, making sure. And then I think you said that it is being adopted by Harbor and Zod and other. So is that going to be part of the pull-through cache or mirroring? And so when you download an image, is that going to pull in? It's going to be in the chain as well, or is it?
For right now, all the pull-through caches today would treat this with the fallback option, and once they're upgraded, they'll be able to use the newer tooling out there. If you've got a pull-through cache that is on a 1.0 spec that doesn't know the new APIs, and they query a registry that's already upgraded, they're going to discover nothing because they don't know the new APIs to talk to, so they need to get the pull-through caches more than likely upgraded at the same time or before your upstream registry is upgraded.
All right, thank you. Give it up for Brandon. Thank you so much.